Hey, welcome back to the Virgo channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to do a general message for Virgo. Know that energy is fluid. Roles could be reversed. I know that you know the drill. Flip it, switch it, twist it. Just interpret the message as it best resonates with you. If you're new to my channel, I like to go deep, which means I don't like to just look at what goes on the surface, because what goes on the surface a lot of times is not real. Our relationships are really about learning, learning who we are and learning the life lessons of love. And so when we tend to be dealing with people, a lot of times we're dealing with their shadows. So I'd like to look at the shadow parts of themselves, the part of themselves that sabotages the relationship, how we get in our own way. And so because I want to help people heal, I mean, that's really what it's all about. It's about understanding that we're in a place within our evolutionary process that, the only way to be heaven on earth is to have the highest character, and this highest character is a Christ consciousness. And when we integrate that consciousness, what we are actually doing is we're integrating unconditional love into our life where it isn't, because that's your energy. Your energy is just supposed to be an expression of love. That's all you really are. You're an expression of love. However, when you're out of balance and you're angry, obviously you are not an expression of love. And we all have days like this. I mean, it's normal. I mean, I think I got two massages today. I ate a pizza, not a whole pizza, but a lot. I mean, it's just like one of those just days. But we have to learn how to embrace those days. And those days make the good days better. They allow us deeper introspection about life, what's important to us. So that's why I like to do these type of readings. All right. So if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me, you have to obviously want to get a shadow reading. Otherwise, it's not going to work. You got to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write the word of the video in your comment bar. And also understand that um, I do look at everything, but we do focus a lot on the inner child wounds and the shadows. Okay. Now, let's see. Let's see. The word of the day. This is going to be the word of the day. The word of the day is insecurity, low self-esteem, low self-esteem. And already, Virgo, I feel like you're dealing with someone that has a very low self-esteem and is triggering the shit out of you. It's triggering you because you're like taking it personally, and really when we do shadow work, understand, um, we do shadow work every time we enter into a relationship with someone that we care about. When we're asked to go deep within inside of ourselves, it means that we have to be raw. And not everyone wants to be raw. It's scary, especially if you've gone through experiences where you were taught that you weren't safe to love, to be open to love. So again, I feel like you're dealing with somebody that is triggering the shit out of you, but you don't understand what they're going through, that their process. It's almost like you're sitting there watching the person's process, being like what's taken so long? Like where spirit says that that's because Virgo, someone treated you that way. So because someone treated you that way, this is the way that you respond. And it's an automatic behaviorism. And so you're also insecure. This person's making you feel insecure. No one should be able to make you feel insecure. You shouldn't be able to make you feel insecure. You shouldn't be able to make you feel insecure. It's like, but there's just insecurity. So you can have deep love for a person, but if you're going to be insecure, it's just never going to work. It's never going to work. And so again, why? Well, again, if we have shadows, then the real part of ourselves, the God part of self, knows already that we're already kind of living out of alignment. We're faking the funk. We're showing, We're showing a person a mask. We're showing you what we want you to see. But is that real? That's not real. What's real was what went down today. My 2 massages and my pizza, I mean, because some days it's just not gonna be on. It's just not gonna be on. And so disassociation. Disassociation is when you aren't allowed to feel your emotion. Trauma, being in an experience, that is so traumatic that it hurts your heart, that it hurts your heart, and you emotionally disengage. So you know what's happened, but there's no feeling towards it. And it's because too many times you were taught not to feel, or that you weren't nurtured when you needed that love. So I feel like, again, both of you people have this in common. So again, like goes to like, you're a mirror of who and what comes into your life. We get our relationships to heal. That's why we get them. They come in a pretty package because you're gonna want to fucking kill the person. Eventually, because they're gonna trigger you, and they're gonna trigger you to make you look at yourself. And so again, without integration, it'll always be a disappointment. It'll always be a disappointment because you'll always have expectation. So what has happened here is, again, when you haven't gotten the love that you needed, the nurturing that you needed, there's an attachment issue. Attachment is not love. It's codependency. It's needing it to look a certain way, wanting it to be a certain way, but that's not that way. I mean, that's not life. That's strategizing. And love is not a strategy. Love is unconditional, like it has no expectation, it has no ownership, it just is. You can't manipulate it, you can't destroy it. It's love, but understand both parties were taught not to love. So again, they act in anger because they want to control things their way. Their way is, again, because that's a survival. That's a survival mechanism. But all it really does is then bring sorrow and sadness. And then it's almost easier to look, again, selfish, because it's like you're not, there's a shadow. There's a shadow. And that shadow is, again, my feelings were not honored. I'm always disrespected. And when I'm disrespected, it makes me feel as if I'm not good enough. So I feel like I need to be perfect. And it's like, but there is no perfect, because if you try to be perfect, you're going to be powerless, and then eventually you're just not going to give a shit because of disgust. But then it always brings us back to full circle, which is the memories, right? The nostalgia. So let's look and see actually what your person thinks. I mean, but that's the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is the part of self that isn't aware. It's more run from those spiritual blocks, those shadows. It's time for me to heal now. Because what happens is, when it's real unconditional love, we can't walk away. They're like, we want to walk away, but we can't walk away because, again, there's this energetic psychic cord, spiritual cord. It's made of love, and it's of the divine. So I feel like, again, divine energies, divine relationships make us want to heal, make us heal. That's what they do. We have to come to a place of surrender, though. We have to come to a place of surrender. Because, again, otherwise I try to control it. And the more that I try to control it, the more I can't stop thinking about you. So then I become obsessive. And when I become obsessive, it's that attachment. Again, because if both parties were not able to really emotionally feel, then there's a strong psychic connection. And when there's a strong psychic connection, there's a strong spiritual connection. It's of the heart and mind. It transcends all time and space. So it's known as a past life karmic relationship. And so obviously in a past life, he didn't learn the lesson. That's usually what it means. That's why everyone's like, oh, fuck, I don't want one of them. But really, it's not. What that is it's, what that is love where we can't control it. We want to control it. It's like, but the more, like I said, so it becomes like addictive behavior. So both parties may have addictive behaviors. They may have it, they may not. Again, but they definitely feel inadequate. And when people feel inadequate, they got to do something to create the balance. It's unconscious because there's an energy feeling that we all have to feel to be at a certain vibration. And this certain vibration of unconditional love needs to be like almost like that dopamine, right? Like that we're excited about life. Guess where we're going? This is what we're doing. This is who we're being. You know, not this is what I have. This is what I'm eating today. This is what I'm like, who I'm hanging out with. All those things are outside and they will be a depletion. And then when there's a depletion, it's because there's a separation from God. There's a separation from unconditional love, which is what God is, which is the universe, which you are the universe. You're just, again, in physical form for a certain amount of time. And we never know when that time is. So understand, you'll live many lifetimes because you would never know that you're separate from this unconditional love. You would never know it. Finding out the truth crushed me. I feel, you know, naive, believe it or not. And I feel naive because it's more like thinking that you found the perfect person that's going to complete you is an attachment, it's codependency, but it's not true. There isn't that. It's again that there is no perfect. So when there's a misperception that the person's going to be perfect, you expect them to act a certain way. And this obviously did not happen. No, like it didn't happen. That's what this looks like. It's like, and so obviously it's devastating because it's devastating not just because of, oh my God, look like it didn't work out, but it's like, look what it made me feel about myself. And that like those wounds are still there. Right. I started this off by saying your relationships all are about learning the lessons of unconditional love. No one volunteers for this. It's like we're minding our own business, that's like, and then all of a sudden, and that's why, like I'm saying, like it's all about the shadows. So I wish I could share my good news with you. They're changing, and I think that both parties change. I mean, it's all about the evolutionary process. And when I'm talking about the evolutionary process, I'm talking about the mind expanding your mind. When people saying, "Oh, awaken," this is what we're talking about. We're talking about like not just being awake; it's to realize how you can take responsibility for your life, how you can change your life, how you can heal your life. But you have to know who you are. And if there's disassociation because you weren't allowed to feel, then it's like you're trying to navigate your relationships through, again, what you feel, which is actually filtered through your wounds because you don't know what you feel because there's many different layers to a wound. It's like that's why they say it's like peeling an onion. It is. And so this connection is not an easy connection. So again, but that doesn't mean that there isn't love here. So let's take a look. We have to look at the shadows though. And listen, I like to do work, get worse and then get better, like because that's really how life works. It doesn't get that you're better and then get worse. I mean, some people do, but it's not supposed to be. Those people couldn't have gone back down if there was never a down to begin with. You know, that you can only go down if that's where you know what that looks like, you know what that feels like. That's how you manifest. Wasting time, procrastination, because again, I'm insecure. So, like, that's pretty much your person. It's like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, this person, like, all of a sudden is like, I don't know how to think. In this particular instance, it doesn't mean that they don't know how to think when it comes to other things. It's just, again, when it requires them to feel and it requires them to make an emotional decision. They can make a very analytical decision, very, very well, very straightforward. And they don't give a fuck about it, you know, like, and, but they, again, when they have to requires empathy and sensitivity and that they don't feel comfortable. They just don't feel comfortable. But it's like they're hypnotized by you because they're like, what the fuck? Like, like I can normally control everything. Why can't I control this? It's again because it's a divine connection. And again, we're down here for a bigger purpose. And the biggest purpose of all is, again, to be that expression of unconditional love by doing what you love, by becoming what you love, and by having a love affair within your life. Most people don't do that. Most people don't. They don't honor themselves. They feel like they need to be perfect. And there is no such thing as perfect. We shoot for excellence because everybody has trauma, but this is what this is all about. Unresolved trauma. And what I'm talking about is psychic trauma, psychological trauma. You were not allowed to feel the way that you feel. You're not allowed to be who you think that you are. You're not allowed, you're not, which the constant, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough. Hearing it over and over and over from a parent, whether they say it or whether or not their actions, or whether it's just a simple look. It's the child's self is very sensitive. And we don't, as a society, we don't nurture that. We don't understand that. I mean, that's why when you look at you know, people like from the olden days and like people that live in the Amazon, they nurtured their children forever. I mean, they chew the kids' food, and I mean, I wouldn't want to do that, but you understand what I'm saying? They were close to their kids and their family. They were roots, and those roots that were knowledge were taught. We're taught about, you know, how what it why we're here, what we're supposed to do, what family's supposed to look like. It's not that it was perfect. There is no such thing as perfect, but unconditional love is supposed to be expressed on a daily basis. On a daily basis. It's that's your protection. Your psychic protection is that. But if you know you're not getting it, well then you're conditioning yourself to believe that you can't have it when you can. So the unresolved trauma is always the past life family karma, ancestral karma, meaning the roots were weak on both parties. Hobby. And so like there were no hobbies to create, right? We have to be able to create ourselves. And we create ourselves by becoming ourselves. But if every time you're trying to do something, you're being shut down or being told that it's not, you don't have enough money, you don't have enough time, you don't have enough, and you might not even have been told, you might have witnessed your parents never doing that, those types of things, not having hobbies, not, and because there wasn't enough money, there wasn't weak roots really means all elements of the physical world, not just your family, but there's a disconnection. Remember, disconnection, disassociation from your community, not really feeling like you fit in with your community. Support comes from all different places, or even your connection to God itself. So what happens is the person goes more up in their mind. They're no longer grounded. No longer grounded. Because again, they don't know who they are. They're stuck in the trauma. And so the whole time the psyche is forming. When that's happening, it's like we're also forming behaviorisms that are going to be in alignment with that bluff. So everybody lies. That's really what it is. It's like being taught to lie. When you're growing up in a certain environment and you're not allowed to express yourself in a free and an open way, then you don't really feel like you're going to be accepted. You're not really going to feel as if you can be loved. You're not really going to feel like you're accepted for just who you are. You don't feel safe. And so the thing is, then everybody lies because they're not showing their feelings and not showing their emotions. But that's why the energy stays in the sadness, where I know I pulled sadness before, but I don't know where it is. But it's that. So you're not going to be an open vessel for like the good things in life. So this is, I mean, this is a deep wound. We are going to look and see what your person's going to do and all that, but we're going to go into the inner child wound first. Because it's not uncanny or uncommon to like have like the person wearing a mask and doing the exact opposite thing of what they're supposed to be doing, or sabotaging the connection, or actually healing. It's like you can get anything when people again are forced to heal. Again, unworthy. Didn't I say that? I said that. It's like, again, you're not good enough. The inner child wound, you're not good enough because because maybe you're sensitive, maybe again, maybe you were too smart, maybe you did, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the issue was, but unworthy is what brings sadness. Because again, we have spirit inside of us, and spirit inside of us is that supernatural energy, the universe, God, love. And so again, God gives us free will, but we're not allowed to go around being like, I'm unworthy, and think that there's not going to be karmic consequences. There are. This is an unconscious manifestation that's going on here. And this is how psychic trauma like affects, because there's no support, right? Again, if I don't really feel like there's support, and that's another inner child wound. No support. I feel abandoned. I'm unworthy. Not good enough. So no one understands me because I don't really understand myself. And that's again because you wouldn't understand yourself if the emotions were not integrated. Like it's like going into a murder scene and getting only half the clues. You're not going to know. It's life being an expression of unconditional love means that you have all the higher characteristics of the divine feminine and all the higher characteristics of the divine masculinity. the integration of that, of the wounds, the shadows, is like is actually the transmutation of all the spiritual blocks that are just sabotaging behaviorisms and habits and conditions and even reflexes that were formed in times of trauma. So again, this is why life becomes hard to navigate. Life becomes hard to navigate where it's like, well, I guess I'm misunderstood. And so we've come to a point within our evolution that we need to break the karmic contracts and the karmic codes and the ancestral, and that can be done. It's again, but we have to have spiritual hygiene. We have to know how to integrate the spirit part of ourselves. Otherwise, we'll stay blocked. We'll stay stuck in a place of limitation, and limitation only creates anger, makes us like again try to feed ourselves through other things that really aren't really supportive to our best good. Again, so white rabbit. So it's again, I feel like it's time to awaken. You know, that's white rabbit to me is like, well, we could be going down the rabbit hole. And I feel like that's exactly what it feels like when you're going through a spiritual awakening. You're being showed something traumatic. And so, and a lot of times our spiritual awakening, it's not it's not pleasant. It's because there's so many different emotions, unprocessed emotions. So it always leads to like, kind of like a dark night of the soul. And then, and then we come out of it and we come out of it better, bigger and better, transformed. Because again, the shield, like the guard, the armor needs to come off, is what I'm trying to say. Because again, always coming from a place of protection, you're coming from a place of fear. You're not going to get that. You're in not, again, you're both out of alignment. And so, again, both parties want to like protect. Gotta be my way. No, it's gotta be my way. It's like it doesn't, again, that's the second chakra imbalance. Second chakra imbalance is one of my identity. I don't really know who I am. I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to process these emotions. I don't know how to go with the flow. So I want to control. And then I don't really like what I manifest. So I don't trust myself. And so that's why your person is insecure. And I feel like you have a lot of the same spiritual blocks. Um, but it's all about self-examination, okay? That's what it's about. It's about looking deep inside of yourselves, introspection. What did they say? Is that the relationship are all about healing. I didn't realize it was going to be, hey, this deep, but you know, I'm not in charge of the cards. I just pull them. And then let's take a peek and see what kind of relationship is it? What does the person want? What does this person want? Well, what do you want? What's the point? Type of relationship is it? Like tell us something. I want to hold you in my arms and feel our bodies unite as one. Again, I feel like there's a lot of like twin flame energy, um a lot of a lot of passion because I understand no one would stick around for this shit. Like I said, you just wouldn't. It's too difficult. I wish I could say what I really feel. Someday I will, but right now afraid to be myself. Well, that's what we've been saying the whole damn time. There's a confirmation. Been saying that the whole time. The whole time. Like, so tell us something else. Separated or together, we are working in tandem with each other. Didn't I say it's a twin flame relationship? Tell me something. I'm going through physical, emotional, and sexual symptoms. Again, dark night of the soul, which we said I need space to rest, but from a higher perspective, I'm releasing old energy. Hello. So I said this is why this connection is. It's like this person, like again, like you're in their mind, you're in their heart. I've never felt love like this before. The depth of it can be inspiring, but also overwhelming because they have no control. So it's all like, again, they're going through this awakening, but I feel like they're going to make their way back. It's not like they're not, it's just surrender brings us together faster than resistance. Again, like learning how to both surrender, which we were saying, it's about both of you guys wanting to control. And that's what the problem is. So with you both surrender, which I think is really difficult if you both were brought up in an environment where you weren't allowed to be yourselves, where you felt like you needed to be someone else. And so you are on guard. You have like heavy armor on, right? You have that shield up. It's like it's that, so that's a mechanism. That's not that's a trained behavior. We don't just walk around with armor on. Nobody does that. We're taught to do that. The environment. So it's again, so if you're going to look at it like it's not going to do, like you're not going to, you have to ask yourself, wait, what do you really want? Because it's not an easy connection at all. I'm trying to figure out this connection. I've never experienced anything like it before. Okay, so like it's again, this person has never felt anything like it before, and it's because they wouldn't, because it's a twin flame connection. It's the one that's making them actually look at themselves in the mirror. And so it's terrifying them. They're going through a dark night of the soul. I believe that you're in separation and you're doing whatever you're doing. Like let's see what you're doing. Let's see what this person's gonna do. Let's look at both. And because it's like, well, what are you doing the whole time? Are you just sitting here like waiting? But then that's gonna it's like watching your hair grow. It's gonna like it's not gonna move, and you're gonna get frustrated and angry. And again, it's surrender. Long distance. Again, I feel like you're just finding you, doing you, allowing you. I, it's not that you're not working on things. I feel like you are again, but that this person's your soulmate. It's like, I don't really feel like, I feel like I can't give you what you need. Like, there's a part of you that's like, I don't know if I can give you what, I don't know if I can be with you. And because it's, you didn't do things the way that I needed you to do them. And that's exactly what I feel like. There's like a lot of resistance. So though you know that this person's your soulmate, there's a part of you that's like, I don't know if I want to put up with this. Because they trigger you too much, is what I'm feeling. Like they're almost like stuck on stupid is what you feel. And again, that's not really 100% this person. I just want you to know. I want you to know it's also your own wound. That's why we look at the shadows. That's why we look at the inner child wounds. Now, to be fair, I'm going to put these cards back because, like I said, I already know there's only three. Okay. I already feel like there's a lot of mirroring energy, as I said, but I just want to pull three more for you. Again, naive, like your childhood was taken from you. So it's like you weren't allowed to be you. So there's a part of you that I feel like during this time has gotten more grounded, and that's by finding yourself, what you actually want, what you actually like. And so the more that you're doing that, and the more that this person is away, the more that you're like, well, I might not even like you because you're not here and you haven't been here. And so there's a part of you that's like, that feels like you're going to be changing and you don't know whether you wanted to go back into that energy because there's a sense of needing to go back into that energy to like experience all those pains that you actually learned on your own while in separation from this person, that you're like, but if I've already created myself, why do I don't want to go back into that space, into my inner childhood, to be around someone that triggers me. It's like I wouldn't feel like I would have that passion, that connection anymore. And that is a lot of times what happens with soulmate twin flames, because there's too much running and too much running and too much trying to control, to the point that it damages the connection, where one person eventually is just, I don't want to deal with it. Again, yeah, because of no time and no attention. And so it's like there's a part of you that's, again, that I feel like it depends on the time. It depends on the time. If this person comes back in a timely manner, then it's like before I've gone out and experienced my life, then, but I'm not going backwards because you had plenty of time and attention, but you held back from me. And being that you held back from me, it's like that means that you were off doing other things that you felt like were more important. And to me, there's a sense of, again, you needing it to look a certain way, to be a certain way in order for you to digest it on a real level. And that could be because, hey, well, it's like I feel like that's the minimum. And so this person wouldn't be intentionally doing that, but you would be like, again, I don't want to be deal with the triggers. I don't want to deal with it. And so there is this sense of, you're going to make me wait time and attention, and then I need to teach you also. Like, I don't like there's a sense, the more that you sit around and think about it, the more that you're like, I don't, because it's again triggering you, because again, the person doesn't make you feel safe. And that's it, that's really what it's about. And that's how this connection would get damaged. It's like because of time, no attention, the person didn't make you feel safe. And it brought up all those wounds from your inner childhood that needed to be integrated. But you, again, you and this person might wind up doing the healing separate, because I feel like this person is just going to take too long. I feel like you're not going to be patient enough for them. That was just the energy that I felt, because you're going to be seeing that your life is going to be taking on new energy, because you're a new you. You went through your process. It's in separation from this person, and then going out into, like, the world, meeting and having new connections, all different types of connections. Well, it's again that it would be like going backwards, is what I feel like in this story you would feel, and what you would do. And so let's see, what does Spirit say? here and now. The future does not exist and the past is gone. I focus on the present moment. I have confidence in life. See, and there's a part of you that's like, again, where I feel like Virgo, it's like, you're like, everything's in the here and now. You're not here and you're not now. Like, and so being that, it's like I've become somebody else. And so, and that, the future doesn't exist. It's not what you're going to do. I don't want to bank on who you might be. And when you had the chance to be here, you chose not to really give to the connection. You wanted to control the connection. And you wanted to control the connection because you didn't want to be vulnerable. So in that, what you did was you started me out. And so, like, everything happens in its right time. And so I believe that this time was a time for healing. It wasn't an easy time, but I believe that you learned the lesson and that you integrated the lesson. And I do believe that this person is not going to be happy with the choices that they made, because there is love there. But it's again them holding back and playing games and doing everything well. The bluff actually backfired on them, because you actually, like, they didn't never thought that you could walk away from them. Again, and it was with the soulmate twin flame connection, you really can't. But there's a sense that you've like, nah, it's like you did too much, you went too long, or there was just certain energies. And that is part of self-respect too. Like, it's that when we honor ourselves, so it doesn't mean that you won't love that person, but it just means like you love yourself more, which is what I believe that spirit was trying to get at the whole time. It's like if both parties were not allowed to express themselves, then they both felt unworthy and both didn't feel good enough, then obviously you weren't giving yourself enough love, waiting for this person to come and give you love. And there again, they feel defective to do that. They need to control it, which made you need to control it, which it's the same environment. It's the same theme, that it was time to cut the karmic contract. Ancestors break that karmic curse, I should say, because that's a generational curse where we're taught to again be someone that we're not. All right, Virgo, I know that this was a little bit of a different style reading tonight, so you let me know how you liked it. And if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me, don't forget to write the word of the day in your comment bar. I don't remember what that word is. Like I said, I channel, and so it goes in, out, so I wouldn't remember. But you can rewind the video and right from the beginning, I say it. And I'll talk to you soon. All right, bye.